Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. My name's Ron Tyler. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We're going to start off this program again, as we have in the past, with the national anthem being done by the United States Army Barbershop Quartet. I would ask everybody now to please rise, and thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave blue through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh, yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. We want to thank these fine men for doing this for us for so long. I've gotten permission from the United States Army to do this. I've got permission from them, and I got permission from the Barbershop Quartet Convention to air this for all of you. Otherwise, I would be getting a copyright strike. I've got permission all the way around. We appreciate all of our military members, wherever they might be, around the world or here in the United States. I want to also thank our military members that are allied with our allied forces, countries that are allied with the United States. I want to thank them also for their service. God bless you all. May you all return home to your families after your tours of duty end. And thank you all for your service. We definitely appreciate it. God bless you all. Now, folks, we have a lot to talk about tonight. Yes, Africa is still rolling. Ethiopia is still rocking back and forth. Nepal, at the border of Nepal and China, got hit right before we got off the air last night with a 7.2, 7.4 earthquake. I believe it was a 7.8 earthquake. A major 7.8 earthquake. And I'll explain more about that in a few minutes. major earthquake. But first I want to talk about a fire. A very bad fire over in Los Angeles area in the Pacific Palisades. Okay? I'll be showing you a map where the fire is in just a few minutes. Now, this is urgent. This is urgent. I know a lot of you live in the Los Angeles area. A lot of you may have friends and family living over here in the Pacific Palisades and Malibu area. We just got through fighting a fire over in Malibu, California, and it was put out way before Thanksgiving. Now, we have another in Pacific Palisades. It started up about 10:30 a.m. this morning. Now, there are evacuation orders there in place. It's a very lawful order. Immediate threat to life. If you are under an order to evacuate, get out now. Get out while the time is gotten for you to get out. Do not wait for somebody to throw you out or to get arrested. Get out now. Now, why am I saying this so forcefully? Because some people escaped with their lives. Some people escaped from the Palisades with their lives. Only their lives. One lady had a pet rabbit that she had to leave behind. That's how serious this is. Evacuations orders are in place for the following zones. Now I'm going to give you the zone. SSM-U010-A and LOS Q0767. SSM-U010-A and LOS-Q0767. Those are the evacuations in place right now. If you have an area that you live in that's under evacuation orders, get out right now. Don't wait. Your lives are ultimately in danger. It's better for you to get out now than risk your life. Additional evacuation orders have been established in the fire area all the way down to the Pacific Coast Highway. All the way down to the Pacific Coast Highway, guys. That's how serious this is. Let me show you another picture here. This may blow your mind, and I'm very serious about it. This picture may blow your mind. This is how serious this is. Okay? Look at that. The smoke is already out over the Pacific, over the ocean. And some people have already been trapped on Pacific Coast Highway, and police have told them to leave their vehicles on PCH and run to the ocean. Okay? That's how serious this is. If you are in the Pacific Palisades, get out now. If you have friends or family, get in contact with them. Okay? Evacuation orders are that. Get out now. There are some evacuation warnings in effect. Evacuation orders mean potential threat to life and property. Those who require additional time to evacuate and those with pets and livestock should leave now. Again, evacuation warnings mean that there's a possibility, potential threat to life and or property. For those who require additional time to evacuate and those with pets and livestock, you're asked to leave now. Okay? I'm going to talk now about the evacuations, the road closures, and the possible shelters. Firefighters are battling a 200-plus acre blaze. And now it's not just 200, it's 771 acres. Okay? At 2 p.m. it was 200 acres. Now it's 771 acres and growing. Okay? It broke out at Piedra Morada Drive in the Pacific Palisades at about 10:30 a.m. this morning. It broke out near Piedra Morada Drive in the Pacific Palisades this morning about 10:30 a.m. The fire is still threatening many homes in the area. Some homes have been on fire. Some homes have been seen to be on fire. This is according to the LA Fire Department. The cause of the fire is not immediately clear at this time. The blaze started and grew very quickly, spotting across Palisades Drive and prompting evacuations. If, again, you are in Pacific Palisades, get out now. Don't wait to get an evacuation order or even have a warning. Get out now. Okay? Get out now. I'm telling you, get out now. Okay? How many times have I said get out now? How many times do I have to say this? Get out now. Southern California will be hit over the next 2 days with dry, unpredictable, strong Santa Ana winds. I'm going to say that again. Southern California will be hit over the next 2 days with dry, unpredictable Santa Ana strong winds. Santa Ana winds are what they call devil winds, coming in off the desert. Winds up to 100 miles per hour. Wind speeds up to 100 miles per hour. Earlier today, wind speeds were up between 35 and 45 miles per hour, with gusts up to 75. Okay? That's in some parts of Los Angeles and Ventura County. The National Weather Service has warned everybody, get out while the getting's good. Okay? Take care. Watch the news. Listen to your radios. Okay? Amid a parched landscape, this major wind event is again going to bring extremely dangerous fire conditions. Extremely dangerous fire conditions. This means 1, low humidity, 2, winds, 3, with the winds and the low humidity, all it takes is just a spark. Only a spark to dry brush, and all of a sudden you'll have a wildland fire. Okay? The fire can spread with these winds. The fire can spread very quickly, and it will be very erratic. It will be very fast moving. Okay? Evacuations. Sunset Mesa neighborhood is under a mandatory evacuation order. Sunset Mesa neighborhood in Pacific Palisades is under a mandatory evacuation order right now. Mandatory evacuation orders have been issued for Merrimack Road west to Topanga Canyon. Mandatory evacuation orders have been issued from Merrimack Road west to Topanga Canyon and south to Pacific Coast Highway, according to the Los Angeles Fire Department. Shelters. There is one shelter that's opened up. The evacuation shelter is at the Westwood Recreational Center. The Westwood Recreational Center. It is located at 1350 South Sepulveda Boulevard. Westwood Recreational Center at 1350 South Sepulveda Boulevard in Los Angeles. The zip code is 90025. This shelter will accept small animals. Road closures. Southbound Pacific Coast Highway is closed at Topanga Canyon Boulevard. Evacuation orders are in effect again for MAL-C111-B, SSM-U010-B. Again, I'm going to repeat this last one I told you because I screwed it up. This evacuation order, SSM-U010-B. The next one, TOP-U007. TOP-U009. I'll repeat all those four again. MAL-C111-B. SSM-U010-B. TOP-U007 and TOP-U009. Those are the areas where evacuation orders are now in effect. Pacific Palisades residents face traffic gridlock, literally, as this uncertainty of the fire situation gets even more grim. Okay? 2 fires have ignited in the Los Angeles area amid these dangerous dry offshore wind conditions, and the flames are spreading very quickly. One in the Pacific Palisades, as I've said, that's grown to 770 acres, and it's forced evacuations, and also it's growing. There is no containment on the Pacific Palisades fire. Electricity providers have started initiating planned power shutoffs to further limit the fire growth. The fire is burning out of control this morning in the Pacific Palisades, as I said, destroying houses and forcing residents to abandon their vehicles and flee amid the potentially life-threatening and destructive firestorm. Most of the Pacific Palisades was under evacuation orders by this afternoon, as residents and firefighters fought traffic jams and heavy smoke trying to escape the nearby flames. The blaze, like I said, broke out at 10:30 a.m. near Piedra Morada Drive, and it was pushed by intense wind gusts, and officials have warned fuel can spark anything at this point in time. The fuel, winds, and sparks could spark anything right now and could turn into a very fast-moving and erratic wildfire. By this afternoon, this was already at 700 acres and now at 770 acres and growing. As I showed you in that picture, the smoke is already out over the Pacific Ocean and the fire is racing down the hill toward the ocean. It's bad. Lori Benatti, who lives in the Pacific Palisades, said it's bad. It's like an inferno. She saw the fire start to burn this morning before she had to evacuate. Dr. Jamin's Place is asking me for a fire map. Let me put the fire map up here. There's a fire map right there. Okay? The mandatory evacuation order, the mandatory evacuation area should be in the dark red area. It's not up here at this time. Evacuation orders are already in effect in the brownish area. Okay? From Temescal Park to the north, all the way to the ocean. Topanga Canyon State Park, Topanga Canyon State Park, Temescal Park. This whole area is under an evacuation order. Topanga Canyon Wildwood Fernwood area. Topanga Wildwood Fernwood area. Okay? That is the next threatened area. That's the next threatened area. Okay? Now, as I said, the fire is under investigation right now. Massive smoke plumes filled the sky around the Pacific Palisades as families evacuated not far from hillsides glowing orange. Hillsides glowing orange. Flames. The blaze spread very quickly across the Palisades Drive area, according to CAL FIRE and Fire Protection for Los Angeles Fire. Many people were trying to evacuate in a precarious and chaotic situation. Some people jumped out of their stalled cars. And ran towards the beach. Others were forced to return home and shelter in place if they couldn't get out. Can you imagine that? Forced to return home and shelter in place. I've never heard this before. ordered to return home and shelter in place. Ellen Bacher, B-A-C-H-E-R, tried to rush from home from downtown Los Angeles when she heard about the fire to get her 94-year-old mother, her caregiver, and their 2 dogs, but she quickly hit a standstill at Sunset Boulevard and Palisades Drive. Then the fire exploded right along the road, and police officers started yelling for people to abandon their cars, run for their lives. Miss Bacher recalled she left her keys still in the ignition. She ran the half-mile down to the beach. Firefighters could be heard telling dispatchers over radio traffic that as many as 100 abandoned cars were still blocking the road. Firefighters were telling the dispatch that over 100 abandoned cars were blocking the road. Miss Bacher said this is like an apocalyptic event, an apocalypse. She said, quote, "I live on a ridge. I'm going to be pretty screwed if the fire goes up there." Her mother was stuck at her house. She said she heard firefighters start yelling at her neighbors to shelter in place instead of evacuate. Isn't that interesting? Firefighters yelling at neighbors to shelter in place instead of evacuate. If I was sheltering in place, I'd get my hose out and water down my grass and water down the roof of my house. That's what I would be doing. Okay? She said, "I don't know, I'm so scared." Captain Eric Scott from the Los Angeles Fire Department said that some homes had burned in the fire, but a precise estimate is not now immediately available. The region remains under a severe red flag warning. What have I said about red flag warnings? There are 3 reasons for a red flag warning: high winds, dry humidity, and the possibility of tinder. The possibility of dry tinder. Now, if there is brush low to the ground, the low humidity can dry out that brush with the winds blowing. That turns that brush into kindling. Okay? High winds, low humidity, and kindling. Okay? Red flag warnings. Now, during the nighttime, the winds will turn to strong onshore winds. The winds will go from the west to the east. But by morning, the winds will turn again and go out from the desert out to sea. Okay? The National Weather Service said strong north winds are expected around the fire through at least Wednesday. Strong north winds are expected around the fire through at least Wednesday, tomorrow, with winds peaking tonight from 35 to 60 miles per hour. In some parts of Los Angeles and Ventura County, gusts have been reported at 100 miles per hour. Gusts have been reported at 100 miles per hour as this dangerous windstorm drags on. Wind speeds have already hit 60 and 70 very commonly. Now, this is in the eastern Santa Monica Mountains, not far from the fire. Magnolia Shin said it looks grim. She said about noon today that it looked grim. About an hour after she left her house on Pedro Morado Drive, where the fire started. She said she could feel the heat from the flames before she left. The flames were within 50 yards from her home. She didn't have time to save anything from her home before evacuating. She said, quote, "I couldn't even get my rabbit. I just left. I took my purse and drove away." The upscale Palisades community is a secluded neighborhood retreat for the rich and powerful, including many celebrities. But that seclusion also carries a risk when emergencies occur. George Hutchison stood on his apartment rooftop at Sunset Boulevard and Temescal Canyon watching the fire this morning after rushing from his home and from his nail salon and hair salon that he had. Isn't that interesting? He stood on his apartment's rooftop on Sunset Boulevard in Temescal Canyon watching the fire this morning after rushing from his home from his hair salon. He lives in the evacuation area and his car is packed and ready, but because of the traffic, it was bumper to bumper. He decided to wait it out. He said it looks horrible. You can keep seeing houses burn, and it jumps from one and goes to another. It's crazy. Traffic is gridlocked. Traffic is gridlocked. There are 3 ways in and out of town, and it's all packed. Lots of chaos. Current honorary mayor of the Pacific Palisades, Eugene Levy, evacuated early along with other residents of the neighborhood. The smoke looked pretty black, and it was very intense along Temescal Canyon. He said, I couldn't see any of the flames, but the smoke was very dark. Residents fleeing down Sunset Boulevard gathered along Pacific Coast Highway, many calling family members that were still trapped in traffic. Others cried as they finally reunited. Calvary Christian School students and teachers posted in the Sunset Beach parking lot, waiting to connect students with their families. But the smoke quickly moved towards the shoreline, as I showed you a few minutes ago. By noon, ash was dropping from the sky along the coastline. I figured it was safer at the beach, but now I'm not so sure, said Daryl Goldsmith. The wind is virulent, and I just hope things don't burn down. The poor fire department could not even get in there. Goldsmith was at her Palisades home with friends when she spotted the fire. It quickly exploded. As she rushed to evacuate, her husband stayed behind to help a disabled neighbor escape. Firefighters began directing traffic, but Goldsmith decided to ditch her car in the grass and decided to walk down to the shoreline. As she walked at Sunset Beach, her husband was still stuck up on the hill. Amid a parched landscape, the major wind event is creating particularly dangerous fire weather. Fire can start its own weather system. Heat and high winds with the fire can start its own weather system, literally. Okay? I've seen fire-nados. I've seen fire-nados, guys. Okay? Fire weather is similar to the conditions that were in place when both the November mountain fire in Ventura County and Malibu's Franklin fire in December erupted. Officials said this was not a typical Santa Ana wind event either, though it's indeed bringing dry offshore winds to the area. The widespread wind event now is expected to cause disruptions from Santa Barbara County south through San Diego County. I'm going to repeat that again. This specific Santa Ana wind event is expected to cause disruptions from Santa Barbara County south through San Diego County. That's a huge, long area. This started this morning, and it's going to go through at least Friday. This Santa Ana wind condition started this morning, and it is expected to go through Friday. It's going to affect an area from Santa Barbara to the north all the way down into San Diego County. Now, as I told several other people earlier on a fire chat, when they saw the smoke going down to the beach, they were asking me about it. I told them, as I'm telling you right now, I've seen fire spread down to the beach before. In Laguna, 2018, Laguna Niguel. Fire spread to the beach then. Twice in San Diego County, I saw a fire go down from the interior of North San Diego County all the way to the beach in Encinitas. I've seen it happen. When I moved to Salt Lake, I saw areas of San Diego burn that I'd never seen burned before. Even my town of Poway, California was burned. And I thought that would be almost impossible. But Poway, California was literally surrounded by flames. Poway, California was surrounded by flames to the north, east, south, and west. Okay? Right now, red flag warnings remain in place across this entire region, citing an increased risk for large fires with very rapid fire spread. Extreme fire behavior, fire weather, and long-range spotting, meaning embers being carried by the wind, and they carry through the wind to another place and spark another fire. Some areas fall under the most elevated warning of a particularly dangerous situation. Okay? Forecasters are also warning that the storm could bring a wind phenomenon that can cause short-lived but very destructive winds, particularly in the San Gabriel foothills and valleys. The mountain wave wind, they call it. The mountain wave wind activity occurs when gusty winds rapidly drop down mountainside slopes. The mountain wave wind activity occurs when wind gusts gain strength, and when they drop down the mountain slopes, they even gain more strength. And then they hit the flat landscape, and it goes crazy from there. Brief bursts of very strong winds. Brief bursts of very strong, dangerous winds. Okay? Again, it's called a mountain wave wind activity. The winds gain strength going down a mountainside, and then they hit the flat land, and it goes crazy. It's called a mountain wave wind activity. Okay? Now, we could see strong winds like that, but they have not been seen since 2011. Okay? Those kinds of winds have not been seen since 2011, but it is very possible that this could happen. And if that happens, it will cause very serious damage around Pacific Palisades and over into Topanga Canyon. Okay? In 2011, it caused serious damage in Pasadena, Altadena, and San Gabriel neighborhoods, including knocking out power for days for more than 400,000 people. Knocking out power for days for over 400,000 people. Okay? Hurricane Heather says, sorry fam, this brings back memories she'd rather forget. Much love. I agree, Heather. I fought fires before. I've been on fire lines. I've been on fire lines in my own neighborhood. I know what this is like. But I have to report on it. We have to report on it because people's lives are in danger. These mountain wave winds could reach up to from 80 to 100 miles per hour. And they're expected to be strongest across the 118 and 210 highways. Okay, these mountain wave events are expected to be strongest across the 118 and 210 highway corridors, including the San Gabriel and San Fernando foothills. Including the San Gabriel and San Fernando foothills. And also the Simi Valley. And even eastern, and even eastern Ventura County valleys. You folks over in Ventura County, you could also still be affected again. Ventura County already went through this earlier this last year, and now it's possible it could happen again. Winds are expected to peak late tonight, but the winds are going to linger through at least Friday. Winds are expected to peak late tonight, but expected to linger until at least Friday. Electricity providers: Southern California Edison, Los Angeles Power and Light, San Diego Gas and Electric has started initiating power shutoffs. They started initiating power shutoffs. Let me bring up that map again too. Okay, now let me explain this map. This map may be a little bit deceiving. Okay? Notice over by where this fire is. Notice where this fire is in the Pacific Palisades. Okay? You can see an area here that's a little bit jumbled up. Okay? It almost looks like Chinese writing. That's Pacific Palisades area. These areas with the bell in them, those are the expected power shut-off areas. These are the expected power shut-off areas. Okay? From Santa Barbara out to Los Padres National Forest, Lancaster, Palmdale, just west of Victorville, even down to Borrego Springs, Los Angeles, Seal Beach, all the way down to San Diego. Okay? That's a rather large area. You need to be aware of it, guys. You need to be aware of it. A lot of our friends and family live in this area. A lot of friends and family live in this area, even out on San Clemente Island. See that island there with the bells, 2 bells on it? San Clemente Island could have their power shut off as well. That's how serious this is. Okay? Now, about 5,000 customers in Los Angeles and Ventura counties were without power by early this afternoon. That's according to Southern California Edison. Southern California Edison has warned that another 400,000 customers across Los Angeles, Ventura, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties may see shutoffs today and Wednesday due to the heightened wildfire risk. The utilities warn that another 400,000 customers across Los Angeles, Ventura, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties may see power shutoffs today through Wednesday due to the heightened wildfire risk. San Diego Gas and Electric is considering shutting off power to more than 60,000 customers in North San Diego County, but none have been initiated since this afternoon. No shutoffs have been initiated in San Diego County this afternoon, but 60,000 customers in North San Diego County could suffer power shutoffs. Just so you know. Edison has already shut off power to thousands of customers. Okay? Life-threatening and destructive fire windstorms are forecast to last at least through Thursday into Friday, bringing with it severe fire danger and widespread power outages across Southern California. This is the third time in many months that strong Santa Ana winds have prompted Southern California Edison to cut off power to its customers. As of this afternoon, 5,500 customers in Los Angeles and Ventura County have been without power. Since this afternoon, 5,500 customers in Los Angeles and Ventura counties have been without power. More than 400,000 people were under consideration for a shutoff. Be aware of this. Over 400,000 people may also be considered for a shutoff, even tonight. There's a reason I'm telling you this. Okay? We're talking about emergency preparedness here. We're talking about getting your preparedness kits together now, while you still have power. Now, Southern California Edison, SCE, Community Resource Centers and Community Crew Vehicles. Let's talk about this. Southern California Edison has Community Resource Centers. Golden Hills Community Center. Their indoor location is at 21415 Reeves Street. 21415 Reeves Street in Tehachapi, California. Zip code 93561. 93561. 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. The Acton Community Center. 3748 Nichols Street. Acton, California. 93510. From 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. College of the Canyons at 17200 Sierra Highway, Building 200, Room 202 in Canyon Country. Zip code 91351. They're open 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. In fact, I'm going to tell you this, unless I tell you otherwise, these community resource centers for Southern California Edison will all be open between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. daily. At the Hampton Inn, at 25259 the Old Road in Stevenson's Ranch. Zip code 93510. Calabasas Community Center, 27040 Malibu Hills Road, Calabasas, California, 91301. Catalina Service Center at 1 Pebbly Beach Road, Avalon, California, on Avalon Island, 90704. Courtyard by Marriott, 27492 Portola Parkway, Foothill Ranch, zip code 92610. San Jacinto Community Center over in Hemet, 625 South Pico Avenue, San Jacinto, California, 92583. The Elks Lodge number 2591 at 33700 Mission Trail in Wildomar, California, 92595. The Veterans of Foreign Wars is the VFW in Yoruba Valley. Indoor location is at 8607 Mission Boulevard, Yoruba Valley, Jurupa Valley, zip code 92509. Idlewild, out in San Bernardino County. Idlewild Community Center at 25925 Cedar Street in Idlewild, California. The zip code is 92549. The Robert Hootman Senior Community Center, 2929 Running Springs School Road in Running Springs, California, 92391. The Jesse Turner Health and Fitness Community Center, address 15556 Summit Avenue in Fontana, California, zip code 92336. Mentone Library, the location is at 1331 Opal Avenue in Mentone, California, 92359. The Rudy C. Hernandez Community Center, 222 North Lugo Avenue, 222 North Lugo Avenue in San Bernardino, zip code 92411. The Residence Inn, 6350 Hollister Avenue in Goleta, California. Zip code 93117. The Fillmore Active Adult and Community Center, 533 Santa Clara Street in Fillmore, California, 93015. The Courtyard by Marriott at 191 Cochran Street, Simi Valley, 93065. The Thousand Oaks Inn, location at 75 West Thousand Oaks Boulevard in Thousand Oaks, California, 91360. Mayor's Discovery Park, 1800 Foothill Boulevard, La Cañada, 91011. That is an outdoor location. Mayor's Discovery Park, 1800 Foothill Boulevard, La Cañada, 91011. Now, public safety power shutoffs are aimed at mitigating threats, often in areas where its equipment could pose a high risk of sparking wildfire. We've seen this happen before. The utilities' meteorological teams use their own weather models and government data to weigh possible shut-off locations, and they monitor not only wind speeds and gusts, but the presence of wind-blown debris and vegetation dryness, and using hundreds of weather stations and sensors. Jeff Monford is a spokesman for Southern California Edison. He says, "We always try to turn off power in the most localized way possible. We know this is not just an inconvenience. We know these outages are actual hardships. And turning off the power really is a measure of the last resort. Turning off the power is a measure of last resort." Now, while Edison tries to give customers notice of a shutoff 3 days in advance, that is not always possible. It's not always possible. Now, I want to give you a hint. I want to give all of you a hint right now. If you see a down power line, stay away from it. Stay completely away from down power lines. Don't even chance getting near it. Stay at least 100 feet away from a down power line. Okay? I've had personal experience with this. Assume the power line is live if it's down. Stay at least 100 feet away from it and call 911. Now, I seen someone get electrocuted when they stepped across a power line. I've seen them get electrocuted when they step over a power line. Don't do it. Don't do it. These power lines can arc. These power lines can arc and send a spark right up into your body and kill you dead. Make you unalive. And make you unalive very quickly. Okay? Sage Pup, who lives over in Santa Barbara area, says you can clearly see the orange haze of the smoke now between the islands and the coast. Unreal. Thanks for that, Sage Pup. I appreciate it. Richard Smith says power can also conduct through the ground. You're absolutely right. Some rock strata can conduct electricity, especially if there's something else beneath the ground that you don't know about. Okay? Some power can be conducted underneath the ground, and you may not even know about it. Okay? NCWQ is saying here in the chat, Topanga Canyon, California, evacuate now, fire has jumped the fire break. Okay? Topanga, if you live in anywhere in the Topanga Canyon area, get out now. Evacuate now. The fire has jumped the fire break, and you need to evacuate immediately. Anyone living in the Topanga Canyon area, get out now. Get out now. get out now. Does anybody have any questions for me in regards to these fires? This is a very serious situation, or I would not even discuss it. I've seen fires happen in Southern California before. These are not fun at all. These are very dangerous situations, and they cannot be taken lightly. These fires are very dangerous, and the situations cannot be taken lightly. And I'm serious as a heart attack. Been there, done that. Good to see you, Diane. We appreciate you being here. Do you guys have any questions? We have 304 views, and I've been on the air over an hour. Unreal. That must mean nobody's concerned. It must mean nobody's concerned because nobody's here. Friends, family. If you know anybody in the Los Angeles area that may be anywhere near this fire, please tell them to get on the internet and tune into this program. There isn't anybody that doesn't need this information. Most people have friends and family living somewhere in the Los Angeles area. And if you live in the Los Angeles area, you need to know about this. Okay? Suri says he feels very concerned and feels terrible for these folks. I do too. I have friends in Topanga Canyon. I have friends in Topanga Canyon right now. Ross, if you and your wife and kids are still there, get out now. Get out now. Okay. I want to talk about the earthquake that hit over in Nepal, southwestern China last night. I want to talk about it. I want to show you this video. I want to show you what happened. Buildings flattened, homes flattened, businesses flattened. Okay, you saw it here. That's incredible, isn't it? This is that earthquake that hit over Nepal. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. It's not the only thing that happened. It literally is not the only thing that happened there in Nepal. At least 95 people are dead. At least 95 people are dead. It came in as a 7.2 major earthquake. I believe it was a 7.6, 7.8 major earthquake. 60 times as powerful as they said it was. And yet, they've downgraded to a 6.7. They've downgraded to a 6.7. This earthquake is near Mount Everest. This earthquake hit near Mount Everest. The earthquake reportedly struck Tibet's holy city, Shigasti, Shigatse, on the morning of Tuesday over there in Nepal. It happened around 9 a.m. local time. At least 126 people reportedly died. and over 130 people have been injured. 126 people dead and over 130 people injured. Multiple aftershocks keep hitting. As I've said about these very strong earthquakes, these major earthquakes, we will see aftershocks for weeks, if not months and years after these kind of quakes. Multiple aftershocks have affected the region, especially the high altitude region of western China over in the Nepal area. Again, this is very close to Mount Everest. The quake near Zhejiang, China occurred as a result of normal faulting. Normal faulting at shallow depths and north of the boundary area between Eurasia and the Indian Plate. The boundary area between Eurasia and the Indian Plate. Now, I'm going to go over to the USGS map here. I want to show you where this earthquake occurred. Okay, let me show you where this earthquake hit. This is over in the Himalaya mountain region, again near Mount Everest. Look at all these aftershocks. And this is not even half of these aftershocks. Hundreds of aftershocks have hit. USGS is not showing even all of the earthquakes at all. At all. This is pretty bad. This is very bad. When we got off the program last night, I was very concerned what happened. We'd already announced this earthquake. We announced the location of the earthquake as well. Southwestern China, Zhejiang, China. Earthquakes in this area are prevalent. Earthquakes in this area are prevalent. This usually happens at least once a year when we get a major earthquake like this. But multiple aftershocks have been hitting. There's probably close to 200 aftershocks so far. Now, the USGS reported that only a handful of aftershocks have happened. They also reported that the largest aftershock was a 4.4 moderate quake. That's wrong. I've seen and also heard on my notifications that we've had 5.5 and 6.0 aftershocks. 5.5 and 6.0 aftershocks. That is normal when we have an earthquake of this magnitude. 7.0, 7.8 earthquake. Okay? Now, this was also at a shallow depth, 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Again, this is in the boundary area between the Eurasia and the Indian Plate. Okay? The Associated Press reported 1,000 houses have been damaged or destroyed, with over 130 people injured. Okay? The Tibet Earthquake Relief Headquarters and state media have been responding to this quake. Chinese leader Xi Jinping has ordered utmost efforts to treat the injured. He stated urgent efforts. He urged urgent efforts to prevent secondary disasters, properly resettle affected residents, and handle the aftermath of work effectively. Mount Everest scenic area on the China side has been closed. Mount Everest scenic area on the China side, called Qumolongma, has been closed since this earthquake hit. The quake's epicenter was 50 miles northeast of the world's highest mountain, Mount Everest. Tourist vehicles planning to visit this area have ceased operation. They will reopen the base station at the base of Mount Everest after the aftershocks stop. They will reopen the Everest base station when the aftershocks stop. That could be a long while. The National Emergency Operations Center at Kathmandu is in charge of the recovery operation. Tuesday's earthquake over in the Kathmandu area reminded the residents of this area of the 7.8 earthquake that killed almost 9,000 people and injured over 20,000 others near Nepal's capital in 2015. Manju Nupain, who owns a shop in Kathmandu, said in 2015 when the earthquake hit, he could not even move. The shaking was so bad that he could not even move. Today the situation was not as scary as that, but he is scared that another major quake may hit them, and we will be trapped between tall buildings. The region between India and the Eurasian plate boundary has a history of large earthquakes. In the past century, there have been 10 earthquakes of magnitude 6 and greater within 250 kilometers of the January 7th quake today. This includes the 2015 magnitude 7.3 Nepal earthquake. It was located 160 kilometers to the southwest, and the 1934 8.0 earthquake. It was located about 160 kilometers to the south-southeast. And the 2015 magnitude 7.3 Nepal earthquake was an aftershock of the April 25th, 2015 earthquake, which was a 7.8. Okay? The 7.8 earthquake and then a 7.3 aftershock. That's very strong. The sequence of 2015 events resulted in 8,669 fatalities and widespread damage. 8,669 fatalities and widespread damage. Richard Smith is in the chat saying climbing season starts in the springtime. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And now with this earthquake, people are going to be so scared to even begin to climb from their base point. Unreal. Unreal. Richard Smith says he's always wanted to climb Everest. I always wanted to climb Everest until I saw exactly what happens. There are ladders that are spanned over great big huge fissures that are opened up on the mountain. You have to skinny up the ladder to get across the fissure. And yet, some ladders have slipped, sending their occupants of the ladder deep into the crevasse. They're never to be seen or heard from again. So I gave up that ambition a long time ago. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Does anybody have any questions about anything we said so far? I wanted to make sure we covered everybody's bases here. Okay? We talked about the Pacific Palisades fire, a major fire in Southern California, and it's bad. It is very, very bad. Let's back out of this earthquake picture here. North of that major earthquake was another 4.8, 5.0 in the Tibetan Plateau here in China. Off to the east, this is a 4.0 moderate quake, which is in the Nanyoyi part of China. Nanyoyi part of China. This is 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. And again, I want to caution you. These are only the earthquakes that USGS wants to talk to us about. Going down here into Indonesia, East Java area. This is a large 5.0 earthquake near Komodo, Indonesia. It's also supposedly 10 kilometers deep. Further south and to the east. This is another 4.6 earthquake, 12.6 kilometers deep. 4.6 earthquake here. This is a 4.5 in the Banda Sea. 4.5 in the Banda Sea. Okay? Notice they have no earthquakes here in Australia. That's a fallacy. That's a fallacy. Just because the USGS says there's no earthquakes, there are. Okay? Up to the north. This is Santa Monica, Philippines. Santa Monica, Philippines. This is over on the northeast side of Mindanao, Philippines. This is a 4.6 moderate quake. A 4.6 moderate quake. It's over here on the edge of the island here. Right here. Some parts of this island that have people on them may have felt this earthquake. Some people here on this part of the island may have felt the quake. Now I'm going to try to zoom in on this earthquake, or on this piece of island here. Okay? I think up here, and I'm right, there's a small village up here to the north. There's another smaller village over here. Now this is over next to the shoreline. This earthquake is near the shoreline. It's 12 kilometers east-southeast of Santa Monica, Philippines. It's actually just east of Santa Monica, Philippines. Okay? Now, while this is out in the ocean, yes, the ocean waters of the Pacific Ocean can absorb the shock waves of some of the quakes. This should have been far enough where nobody would have felt this quake. Should have been far enough off land that nobody felt this quake. Okay? Let's go north. Okay? Let's go up here. This is in the volcano islands that belong to Japan. This is a large 5.3 earthquake in the volcano islands south of Japan. Nobody lives in the volcano islands of Japan. 5.3 earthquake. Over here, this is in the Izu Islands, the Izu Islands of Japan. This is a larger 5.6, very large earthquake. 377 kilometers deep. A moderately deep earthquake. 5.6 magnitude earthquake out here in the Pacific Ocean. Let's go further north. Honshu, Japan. Honshu, Japan, guys. Look at this. This is another large 5.0 here. Imabetsu, Japan. This is 153 kilometers deep. A 5.0 large earthquake here. Anybody living near this earthquake felt this earthquake. This is 21 kilometers west-northwest of Imabetsu, Japan. But because it's so close to shore, somebody may have felt this quake. Somebody may have felt this quake here. Now, let's go over here to Alaska. USGS is not showing all the earthquakes here. There are about 40 earthquakes here in Alaska. And the United States Geological Survey is not showing all those earthquakes. Why not? Inquiring minds want to know. How about this earthquake right here? Southwestern Alaska, Yakutat, Alaska. This is a 2.3 minor earthquake here. A 2.3 minor earthquake. Okay? Let's go further south. They are not showing any earthquakes here, but there are. There are earthquakes. Up here in the Northern Territories, there's a 4.3 earthquake up here. They're not showing them, are they? Let's go further south over here in Washington. Right here. Point Roberts, Washington. A 1.8 tremor. This is Rossignol, Washington. Lake Rossignol, Washington. And I know I'm butchering that name. A 1.5 tremor there. Notice that they're not reporting any earthquakes at the volcanoes. What a joke. What a joke. This is Mount Rainier. We know for a fact there are earthquakes at Mount Rainier and south of there over at Mount St. Helens. Now, I have some real issues with that, as most of you know. Them not reporting earthquakes doesn't mean a thing. Doesn't mean a darn thing. What it means is USGS is too damn lazy. Too lazy for their own good. Diane Killen says she's going to probably get there soon. I'm not sure where there is, Diane. Let me look at the chat again. Over in Nepal and China area, I would not go there if you paid me. That's my own feeling. I would not go to Nepal or China if you paid me to go. Richard Smith is saying a 3.1 earthquake hit in Wyoming. True. Just a few minutes ago. Now, let me show you something. A friend of mine sent me a picture earlier today of Mount Rainier. Let me see if I can bring that up for you. One of my friends flew in a commercial jetliner over by Mount Rainier, and this is a picture he sent me. Notice the cloud base right at the summit of the volcano. Notice that cloud base here. Mount Rainier is venting. The summit of Mount Rainier is venting. Okay? Don't ever forget it. Each one of these volcanoes are steaming. Each and every one of these volcanoes are steaming. Okay? This is not just a cloud, it's steam coming from the top of the volcano. We all know what that means. Okay? We all know what that means. Demon Catman says the average climber spends around $30,000 to climb Mount Rainier and Everest, or not Mount Rainier, but Mount Everest. And Mount Everest is trashed as a result of thousands of people a year that are up there, leaving their trash all over the mountain. Now, what have I been taught as a scout leader? What have I taught other scouts? If you pack it in, pack it out. Don't leave your trash on the side of the mountain. Mount Everest is trashed. I've seen the trash. Okay? Local guides say they will be giving up their services due to safety. Like I said, I would not go there if you paid me to go. Not ever going to happen. Not ever going to happen. But this is Mount Rainier. I appreciate my friend Tully sending me this picture when he and his family flew by Mount Rainier. I believe it was yesterday. That's a cool picture. That's a very cool picture. Now, I've got some other pictures to show you. Since early this morning, I've been following the funeral of President Jimmy Carter. I've been following the funeral of Jimmy Carter. I met Jimmy Carter a long time ago, many years ago. He came over to San Diego, and I saw he and a Secret Service agent that he had with him roofing a house. Jimmy Carter did more for humanity after he left the presidency than he did when he was president. That's because he got very little cooperation even from his own party or from even the people that he'd hired to help him. And the people in other countries didn't help him much either. Jimmy Carter was a great man, but he was a poor president because he was not represented fairly. Now, when he flew in to Washington from Atlanta, Georgia, where he was at the Carter Center, he flew in on a 747 jumbo jet, an Air Force One he and his family had been given to transport him from his home in Plains, Georgia, to Washington, D.C. for the funeral in Washington, D.C. The hearse picked him up at the airport and took him to the Naval Training Center in Washington. His flag-draped cactus was put on a caisson. The horse-pulled caisson. The horse-pulled caisson was unmanned. There was no man on the single horse. Okay? Meaning a man down. A man down. Carter's casket was pulled by the single horse to the Capitol building. His casket was pulled to the Capitol building. Here at the Capitol building, the honor guard casket bearers took his casket off the caisson and climbed the steps to the Capitol building here. Those steps are very steep. I've been there. Those steps are very steep. And these casket bearers had marched from the Naval Training Center down the street from the Capitol all the way to the Capitol. Then they picked up his casket and very carefully carried it up the stairs. Carrying the casket up the stairs with the casket remaining flat, meaning it was not tipped in any way. That's very hard. The caskets weigh about 100 pounds. And then the body inside probably weighs another 100 to 150 pounds. That was very arduous for those 8 men, climbing the steps to the Capitol building. His body is now laying in the rotunda of the Capitol building until Thursday morning. His family was escorted by the 747 with the body, President Carter from Georgia this morning. Escorted to I can't remember the air base in Washington, but it was joint air base that the Navy and the Air Force use over there in Maryland. The hearse picked up his body off the plane and his family and took them out here to the Capitol. They had a small ceremony here at the Capitol where members of President Carter's family spoke. Also, wreaths were placed here in the rotunda. You don't see the wreaths because I did a screenshot of the rotunda before the wreaths had been placed. The wreaths came from the United States Senate, where Senator Schumer and Senator Toome each escorted the wreath from the Senate to the side of the casket. On the opposite side of the casket, House Representative, Speaker of the House Johnson, and Minority Leader Jeffries escorted the House Representative wreath to the other side of the casket. As I said, some members of his family spoke here. Other members of the family spoke at the Carter Center before he was transported by plane to Washington. The Senate Majority Leader Toombs spoke. Vice President Harris also spoke eloquently for the first time since he's been president, since he's been vice president. Then, House Representative Speaker Johnson spoke very, very eloquently about President Carter's life. Again, I'm going to say this. President Carter was not that good of a president, but he was more eloquent in life itself. Even at 90 years old, he was over in New York City, and someone asked him if he could help or find Habitat Humanity people with hammers, carpenters, to repair a building. Not only did President Carter get people to help repair the building, but he himself was there with hammer and nails himself at 90 years of age. I met President Carter back in the 80s. President Carter was on the roof of a house across from the location where I was at solving an issue. When I got through solving the issue with my partner, I saw President Carter and a Secret Service agent climb down this house that they'd been roofing. They walked across 2 or 3 streets and came over where my partner and I were. He patted us on the shoulder and shook our hands and thanked us for our service. God bless President Carter. God bless Rosalind, his wife, as well. President Carter once taught a Sunday school class, and during his lesson, he told all of us, he made a lesson for each one of us with only one phrase. That phrase said that each one of us should set such an example. Each one of us should set such an example for our fellow men, as if Jesus Christ was going to be visiting that afternoon. Again, President Carter said that each one of us should be setting an example for our fellow men, as if Jesus Christ himself was going to be visiting us that afternoon. Think about that for a while. Think about that for a while. That hit me right home. Yes, I try to set an example for my family, for my friends and neighbors. I try to set an example for all of you, with all of you. I shouldn't say for all of you, but with all of you. Because I believe in Jesus Christ. Yes, I do believe, and I have reason to believe, that he's going to be coming very soon. Folks, let's consider this a lesson. Let's take President Carter's admonition and set an example for our fellow man. Set an example for our families, as if Jesus Christ himself was going to be visiting with us tonight or tomorrow morning. Folks, I have a great respect for all of you. I have great respect for good presidents. I've got even more respect for people like Jimmy Carter, because he set an example. He came over across 2 or 3 streets to shake my hand and introduce himself to my partner and I. We greatly appreciate that. We greatly appreciate that. Heidi Petrick just gave us a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Heidi. God bless you for that. We really appreciate it. Now, folks, let's think about who we are. Let's think about who we are. Folks, if you love what we hear, what you're hearing here on our channel, and Heidi Petrick just gave us another $20 super chat. God bless you, Heidi. Thank you so much. That means so much. Heidi Petrick does so much for each one of you and for me as well. We appreciate her so much. Thank you, Heidi. But let's do something for each other. Let's do something for our families. Let's do something for our neighbors and our friends. Set the example. Set the example. Go the extra mile. Go the extra mile. For those of you that are wondering, President Carter's body will be lying in state here at the U.S. Capitol building in the Rotunda until Thursday a.m. at 6 a.m. He will be picked up and taken back to Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland, where he will catch a plane and be taken to Plains, Georgia. Or he will meet in Maranatha Church, and he will have his final funeral service in Maranatha, Georgia. Prior to that, he will have a funeral service there in the nation's capital at the cathedral on Thursday morning. I respect that. I respect that. Heidi Petrick also gifted memberships. 5 more memberships to emergency management people here. Sheila Fye was given a membership. Smart Butt Patriot was given a membership. Leslie Ross was given a membership. Nancy Engel was given a membership. And Ravetta Boyd was given a membership. Those of you that have been given 1 month memberships to the EMA family here, please tell Heidi thank you. Wow, you guys really do impress me. Tinny Pearl just gave us a $100 super chat. Tinny Pearl, thank you so much. I just gave you an EMA sticker on your super chat. I'm giving you a thumbs up as well. Thank you for that. God bless you. God bless you. We appreciate you so much. That really does make a difference to us. I appreciate you ever so much. How can I thank you enough? How can I thank you enough? You guys are great. God bless you all. For those of you that don't want to do it, give us a donation super chat. Our address is scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now. Our address is flowing across your screen right now, 104 North Green Street, Box 105, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. You can send us a card or letter and slip a donation inside the card or letter. You can also go to the bottom, just below this video here. Go to the bottom just below this video. You'll see addresses for our PayPal and our Venmo. You donate to our Venmo or PayPal addresses as well. Okay? If you want to join memberships here on this channel, at the very top of the program description just below this video, you'll see how you can join as a member of the EMA family here. We appreciate that as well. God bless all of you. God bless Heidi. God bless Tin Pearl. We really appreciate you helping us out with your super chats tonight. God bless you. God bless you, and please know that we love you. I love each one of you. Like I said, please, folks, please do as President Carter suggested. Treat our fellow man, our family, and others as if Jesus Christ was coming here tonight or tomorrow. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. Brothers and sisters, I love you. We come on the air Monday through Friday between 6 and 7 p.m. every day. On Saturdays, we try to take the day off. However, if something were to occur tonight or even tomorrow during the day, we'll be coming back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, and also we come on Sundays for a Sunday school class called Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. We'd appreciate your attendance at that Sunday school class as well. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the program tomorrow night, if not sooner. God be with you till we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love. I appreciate you all so much.